Okay. Let's see if actually it's starting up. Alrighty. So, I think before I start drawing, I'm gonna get a sip of my Sprite. That was a close call. Almost spilt my soda. Oh yeah. Running at the speed of sound. Okay, let's see. I'm going to butcher your name, I'm sorry, but hello, Emissary? I think it is? Hang on. It'd be so much better if I had a table. Okay. Well, yeah. Try to get close enough for my other computer so I can read the chat. Because I don't have the chat open on my computer right now. Because, you know, I can't multitask on the same computer when I'm trying to draw. But hello, everyone. It is your favorite Sonic furry, I guess. I mean, I'm not a furry, but you know, you get the gist. I'm not a furry. But, hello! Welcome to the stream! The last time I did this was for another TC page. It was for, I think it was for both. It wasn't for page 38, because page 38 I did off stream. It was for both pages 36 and 37, where you have Ace. Hello, Kim. Welcome to the stream. It's so good to finally start streaming again. I'm very bubbly because I don't know why. I have a lot more energy than I did last time. Because I was tired. Our favorite Sonic artist. That's so sweet of you. That's honestly very sweet of you. I'm still kind of, not really an amateur, but, you know, I've been drawing Sonic stuff since I was, in 2nd grade, so maybe around the age of 7 or 8. 36 and 37, Ace tried to choke Sonic to death. I mean, not necessarily. Ace was just trying to get him scared. Also, I caught up on the comic. Yes, I'm glad that people are finally reading the comic. You don't know how much that means to me. My god. The comic, it's issue 1 is such a hassle. There's so much art, style, coloring, design changes that kind of made the first couple pages and some of the pages that got further in a little not very much appealing. So I'm glad that issue 2 has brought somewhat a mix of a different coloring style. Granted, you know, the first chapter is kind of the same coloring I did for the comic Save My Soul, which was like, you know, I only did chapter 1 of that one, mainly because that comic ties into TC issue 2. But, with, yeah, with issue 2, the coloring style is much different than it used to be. But I'm so glad that, granted, you know, I tried out the IDW coloring a little bit on Sonic and Tails, and then I tried it out for Amy, Rouge, and Shadow. And I tried to replicate it a little bit in Iris right now, but it's not too close, but I also want to try and make it my own coloring style without, you know, ripping something off. Let's see. I know Ace wasn't actually trying to choke Sonic, but somebody mentioned that and I thought it was funny while just messing with the poor guy's head. Yeah, he kinda was. Ace is known to be a manipulator. Honestly, like, both issues very aesthetically pleasing either way. Why, thank you. Honestly, I deem issue 1 the ugly baby of my comics right now. Issue 2 is way better paced, believe me. Even though, you know, chapter 2 is longer right now than chapter 1. Mainly because I don't know if I stated for the comic or not in the last stream, but by each chapter, like, the pages, they're going to progressively get longer within the chapters. Not like, you know, the page is longer, there's more panels, but more of, there's gonna be more story aspects that kind of get bigger as the chapters progress. Like, you know, chapter 1 was only like 20 some pages. Right now we're on page 39 of issue 2, chapter 2. I have to count for half a second, like, give me a hot second to open this up on my DeviantArt. Let's see, we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 18, ooh. 18 pages so far for chapter 2 right now, but believe me, I have a lot more sketched out. Because I took a day that I thought about doing a stream, but didn't actually end up doing, where I just went ahead, saved about, oh god, I can't math, I'm sorry. I literally have to get a calculator, what the hell. 100 subtracted by 39? So, what I did was I opened new documents, and I have a total of 61 opened, you know, for future upcoming pages that I haven't sketched out yet. So far, out of the 100, I have sketched out 3, 6, 9, 13 pages. So that one's, like, I'm trying to get the pages somewhat relatively longer in the aspect of story-wise. But besides that, it's been pretty good. I love the way the story's going so far. It's going the way I planned it. You know, some aspects I had to get rid of because they didn't make sense. But, because I explained this in last stream, but there was a scene for page, I'm gonna say it was page 35? Yeah, page 35. And, with that page, I was going to have Ace transform into Infinite, but as I said in last stream, it wouldn't have made much sense because, you know, it'd just be a reason to piss off Sonic and being like, I come to capture you, la-di-da-da. But, you know, I took the high road of, you know, not really introducing the character early on because he does, you know, the villain Ace right now shows up in issue 1 towards the end. But, I wanted to, like, give him a little bit more depth in the main storyline. Even though Save My Soul is kind of his side story, in a way. You know, like, I won't say what happens every single time to Ace or whatever in TC, the main storyline, but like the main aspects of where Ace is interacting with the main cast, such as, you know, Iris, the one I'm currently coloring right now, and, you know, Infinite or Sonic, Amy, Shadow, or Rouge, is when he'll show up, basically. But besides that, you know, Ace is Ace. Ace is Ace. He's a manipulator. And granted, you know, that's kind of a stupid way to explain his story. Not his story, but his character. But it's like a short and sweet way instead of going in depth, being like, you know, he's a jerk. But besides that, I don't mind trying to answer some questions that people have about TC without, you know, fully spoiling the comic or whatever. 'Cause, you know, with TC, it's an ongoing comic, and I don't want to spoil anything, but if people have questions about the characters, which granted, you know, some of them are already, what's the word? Already introduced, you know, because you know Sonic, you know Amy, you know Rouge, you know Shadow, you know Infinite, but, poor Infinite, oh, I can't tell you what happens in, what page is it that it shows up? Page... I'm squinting right now to try and read it. Page 47! I cannot tell you what happens in page 47 to Infinite, but I'm trying to develop his story a little bit more by giving reasons why he's the way he is a little bit in the main TC storyline, while also referencing a different comic that hasn't been created yet, but will eventually after TC issue 2. Let's see. Ace is a creature of nightmares that takes after his dad. He does. He does. Ace, like, granted, you know, he despises his family, which will be explained in a little bit in page... what is it? I'm gonna have to say page 52. 52. Because I won't spoil that. Hello, Christy. Welcome to the stream. It's good to have people be interested in, you know, being here at the stream. I'm not usually normally very bubbly. For once, I have high energy. I don't know why. I blame it on my ADHD. Let's see. Nice to see you working on your comic. Yeah, me too, because surprisingly, when I began TC, I didn't really work on it that much, even during when I had vacations and stuff. I just never worked on it much. And then, you know, later on this year, you know, towards the tail end of 2019, you know, I don't know if I started posting pages. Maybe it was like in the beginning of 2020, you know, when the year officially started. But I think it may have been the start of 2020 when I started posting pages on the channel. But like, seeing you guys generally interested in the comic, even though, you know, you don't know who little old Sleeping Beauty is right here. If you don't read the comic. But, it means a lot to me that people are generally interested and willing to ask questions because they're curious. Okay. Oh, Lavi, I have a funny fact that I learned the word defenestration. They have a word for throwing people out the window. It happens so often that they need a word for it, apparently. I think I might make that my new username. Believe me, with, you know, people like me who have somewhat learning disabilities and stuff, because I have ADHD, I struggle with a lot of words. I tend to stumble over a ton of them. That's why you'll see me, like, fact check myself, I guess. You know, when, it was during last stream when I had Ace, when I was typing out his speech for that page, he was saying, you know, extraordinary, and my dumb brain couldn't comprehend that it's basically extra and ordinary meshed together. I'm almost finished with a drawing I started for you. Oh, Christy, you didn't have to do that, but I'll appreciate it and love it anyway. I do appreciate gifts, like, it means a lot to me that, you know, people make gifts. Mainly because it shows me that people care. But, yeah. If anyone has questions about, like, the characters and stuff for TC, I can try my best to weasel away from spoiler territory without, you know, being full on, oh, this happens in the comic. Because if I say it to you, it kind of loses the impact of the twist or whatever. Because I watched, I kind of watched a video about plot twists and how, you know, badly executed some things are. You know, with, like, spoilers and stuff, it's kind of like a second viewing of the thing. So, like, if I say, this is just a bullshit statement, but, oops, I cussed. But, if I said something like, you know, Iris gets married, that would kind of lose the effect of if it were to happen. It'd be a second viewing. And it, you know, like, people, granted, you know, it's not really a bad thing because, you know, people are anticipating it, but it's kind of a bad thing because it loses its shock value. I have the same problem. I started reading at a young age, so I have an extensive vocabulary IG, but I have a hard time reading and speaking. I don't think I have ADHD, but I am hyperactive. ADHD does tie into being very active, because it's, attention definite, I think, hyper disorder, but, like, people with ADHD tend to be hyperactive, and I don't know everything about ADHD, even though I was born with it. And yeah, you'd think, I'm born with it, I should know mainly a lot about it, but I don't, because I don't know why. I'm probably gonna research some stuff, because apparently, I didn't know this, but people with ADHD lack, like, they're deficient in having a certain amount of melatonin, the thing that makes you sleepy in order to, you know, drowsiness that makes you fall asleep. And, like, you know, I always thought I was sleep deprived, but apparently it's my ADHD that's kind of kicking me in the gullet. And the ADHD tends to affect also my time management skills. So, like, if I wanted to, like, say I didn't, you know, because I planned the stream today. Say I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do a stream today, but didn't eventually do it. Like, it kind of affects my time management skills. Like, you know, with putting dubs out and stuff. Let's see. I haven't got really far into it yet because I've been busy. But, yeah, like, if you're, well, I don't know if that comments about ADHD or not. But, you know, if you want to learn about ADHD, take the chance, because you don't know if you have something, but if you see, like, potential, what's the word? It's not symptoms, but, like, little things that stick out to you that scream ADHD, then it'd be kind of good to get looked into on that. Language there or minors here. I mean, yeah, but then again, you know, minors of the age of 5 with, you know, there's some people that have poor parental skills, and a lot of them tend to learn how to cuss at that age. Same with, like, middle schoolers, because they're around other kids that know how to cuss. Getting ready to graduate soon. I graduate next year. I'm a major junior, but I still classify as a minor. Lol. Is that why I'm always tired but can never sleep? Yeah, I'm a senior, so high school went fast. With ADHD, like, I can't seem to get tired. With my ADHD, I can't seem to get tired till 12 in the morning or 1. And I hate that because, you know, I want to sleep. I need sleep. But it's the chemicals in my brain that, you know, my brain doesn't work normally as other people's does. You know, like a normal person's brain acts differently than mine. And I can't function the way a normal person does. And with my, like, I always thought it was, you know, sleep deprivation, but there is a side effect in, like, ADHD where you have a low deficiency in melatonin, which is kind of sad, but, you know, sadly we were born with it. We can't fix it. We can take medication to try and calm our ADHD or to kind of dwindle it down, but you can't fully get rid of it because it's a disorder. It's similar to if you have ADD or autism or PTSD you're not born with, but I can kind of shove in PTSD into the same category because you can't get over it. There's triggers that get you scared and stuff. Sadly, I have to leave my brick and move to our school because I couldn't do that, lol. And with the cursing, I'm going to be honest, I can deal with it, but it doesn't make me uncomfortable. My parents are very much so, it's very much I'm thankful for. Mine tend to openly curse. But, I mean, it doesn't matter to me because if you went out in public, you see all these people spouting off, you know, F this, F that, but, you know, they don't care if there's children, you know? Our country used to be innocent, you know, protect the innocent, protect the children, but nowadays you got a lot of things running around where children will understand more quickly, you know, things at an age they shouldn't. But besides that, I hope you like the Sonic Adventure 2 music I have in the background. Because I didn't know what to put on for music. And I was like, Sonic Adventure 2 music's kind of okay. It's not hot, but you know. It's good. Let's see. I have a problem with my brain. I have issues with extends over time to take things in a medicine, but it still doesn't stop me from overthinking taking the insane. I don't take medication mainly because I don't know if it's the fact I can control my ADHD better or not, but I don't need medication. If I needed it, it'd be for if I was, you know, acting out. You know, being not necessarily bubbly all the time, but very hyper in class to where I'm a distraction. Which, sad thing, people, you know, some kids or people, even adults, can't control. Because, you know, again, we were born with it. We can't fix it. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, you have ADHD, you technically have, you know... A lot of people define ADHD as like a superpower or something, but no. If we had the choice, like us with ADHD, if we had the choice, we wouldn't have been born with it. We would have been like, you know, every other normal person, but we can't fix that because we were born with it. We don't have a choice. Let's see. I have Asperger's syndrome, or I guess ASD now, since they group it all together. I was only recently diagnosed, so it affects me too well. Well, granted, you know, YouTube is not much of a good tool to look up disorders and syndromes, but believe me when I say, like, there are other people that have disorders and such who will, you know, go in depth about the disorders, the symptoms, ways to cope with, you know, the things that you're struggling with when you have these types of disorders. And I wouldn't say read it as, like, you know, your doctor telling you, but they're basically another person that has the same thing you do. So it's kind of getting information from another person who has similar issues as you do. That makes sense, but it sucks that I have to take meds because if I don't, I will have a seizure, and then the option was pot to control it, but no thanks. Yeah, pot's not good. Same with any drugs, or smoking in general, or drinking. I may sound like one of those weird Christians that are like, don't drink until you're married or some stupid crap like that, but I honestly highly dislike alcohol as well as smoking because, as I see it, you're basically shortening your lifespan by 5 minutes. And those 5 minutes you could have been spending with somebody else or, you know, using to live your life, you're basically shortening it. Which is kind of depressing, but, you know, it doesn't really help someone quit, but it's kind of a depressing reminder that, A, if you continue to do that, you're not going to be on planet Earth for very much longer. I literally just now got the notification of your stream. Yeah, YouTube's kind of delayed in that spectrum of letting my subscribers know, hey, you know, she's doing a stream. Then again, I'm certain a lot of people, oh, hi, Blue Blur 6189, welcome to the stream. But what I was gonna say was, I think some people want to see more streams with, the cast mainly, instead of by my old lonesome, but, I can't fix that unless, you know, I'm like, hey, you guys want to do a stream and, you know, figure out a time, which, as I said, I have poor management skills for time. But besides the point, I'd have to ask some of the cast if they were interested, and the thing about my, streaming stuff and my Discord, it's kind of crappy, because, yeah, it'll let me call the other cast members, but not fully. It'll, like, make them all you know, what's the word? Robot-y. To where, you know, you can barely understand them. It kind of happened with, the one stream that I did with Amanda, and Drew ended up calling in from his phone when he was in the car. Is this possibly going to be dubbed in the future after it's fully finished? Actually, issue 1 and issue 2, mainly issue 1 right now, is in the works of being currently dubbed. I still have to ask the other cast members if they're okay with certain things in the comic, and if they're not, then I might have to find a backup voice actor. But, but besides that, what was I gonna say? Shoot. I was trying to find, like, a thing I messed up on. Besides that, yes, the comic's getting dubbed. There, I can throw words out of my mouth. Staticky. Yes, that is the word, but you know, it's not kind of fuzzy as static, but it's more of like cutting in and out. Sweet, that's cool. I'm honestly nervous and excited to get TC dubbed, mainly issue 1, because as I said, it's kind of an ugly baby. I mean, I don't treat it as an ugly baby, it's more of, I can see that, you know, a lot of people wouldn't find appeal in the comic, design-wise, because issue 1's a little bit ugly, but, I can see, like, with it, I can speak. With issue 2, a lot more people would be interested design-wise. I mean, granted, I'm certain if I was to post earlier pages of issue 1 on the channel, not many would be interested, because, you know, design continued to change until what we currently got. Oh, okay, so basically how I talked in the 3rd grade. I wouldn't know how you talked in the 3rd grade, so I'm not judgmental over that. But, for robot-wise, it'd be like, you know, cutting in and out. 'Cause that kinda happened to me too during the DDLC streams that I did with Amanda and Drew on the channel. 'Cause I would cut out due to my connection. And, like, you wouldn't hear me say the line as, like, Yuri or Natsuki. But, like, you wouldn't hear me, you would get some lines, but I wouldn't be fully in. And then, you know, they'd be like, did you read the line? And I would be like, yeah, I did, I'm sorry. Did you not hear me? So I'd try to read it again, but then it'd cut me out again. I wouldn't mind voice acting if you asked, but what's the chance of that? Depending, I doubt how many, well, what am I saying? TC's gonna be packed with characters, and if, you know, like, some of the characters aren't assigned, because I've been recently doing that, because that's what I did with, the IDW annual, where I assigned Neil to our Shadow voice actor to voice Jet, because I thought his voice was a perfect fit, and I was right. But I've been recently assigning roles to people, and you know, if no one's comfortable voicing a character, then I'm like, you know, I've kind of, I mean, I haven't really fully went out on it, but for the cast, we're like, for, you know, the female voice actors, if, you know, someone can't record their lines, we're like, oh, can you do them? And if not, like, say Amanda couldn't record her jazz lines for, you know, I'll just throw it out there, the ShadAmy comic, because now that I said that, people are probably gonna question, oh, when's episode 4? But, what I'm saying is, like, if she wasn't able to record her lines, either AJ, the one that voices Rouge, or I would voice Jazz for that specific dub if Amanda didn't get better, if she was sick. But yeah. With TC, there's gonna be a lot of characters. If nobody's interested in the characters, you know, like, if nobody in the cast is interested in trying the characters, or, you know, doesn't really want to voice them, granted, you know, I should be more dominant in that aspect as a director, be like, no, you're voicing this character, but I'm a little lenient to where if they don't feel comfortable, then I'm like, oh, okay, you know, then I'll ask, so, you know, so-and-so. But with TC, there might be extras if there's nobody in the cast that really wants to do it, because mainly for the female extras, it's me and Amanda that voices the extras for the females. Sometimes Amanda more so than me. But, you know, if none of the other cast, you know, if Amanda's getting tired of doing extras all the time, and if I'm getting tired of doing extras all the time, I might offer up a small chance to have subscribers who have decent mic quality to try out for the extras. Let's see, I haven't been reading the cast, not the cast thing, the chat. Let's see, okay. I would voice act if I had a mic made for that stuff, and yeah, I basically cut in and out when speaking in general. I will stop in the middle of a sentence just trying to figure out what I was trying to say. That's honestly me as well, because since I struggle so much with certain words, I try to think out. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Think out a sentence I'm going to say, and then I'm like, hey, you know, I mean, I try to generally sound somewhat intelligent, not, you know, oh, I'm a genius, but, more of like, I don't want to be perceived as, you said something funny because your voice cracked, or, you know, type thing. Yes, I have to think about what I say before I say it sometimes. Same with me. Very much same with me. Okay, the next thing I have to not draw, I can't speak. Color is Iris's. Those are her shoes, right? Yeah. Oh, wait, no. Gotta get the weird little black thing. There we go. But yeah, you know, with the comics and stuff, it's fun to do voice acting, but at the same time, it kind of... I don't want to say it's a pain in the neck, but it kind of is sometimes, because if I wanted to do, you know, like, work on TC all the time, like I'm doing as much as I can right now, in order to have a lot of material to dub, I have to kind of push and crunch my dubbing plans and stuff for recording lines. And the minimal time that I have either, oh, you know, I don't feel like, you know, sketching out, or, you know, well, I have a lot of sketched out pages, but I'm saying, like, if I'm like, oh, you know, this is tiring, I don't really want to do it, then I'll instead do voice-wise. I'm going to start working on my drawing too. Cool! But, as I'm saying with, like, the voice acting thing, it can be tiring. And, you know, I'm not a professional in any means, but make sure that you have time for yourself too, or the things you love. Granted, you know, a lot of people are like, they want to pursue voice acting as a career, but there are other people out there who don't really feel the same way. It's more of like a side hobby, which is kind of how I am, because voice acting is more of a side hobby for me than my art. My art is my main passion that I want to press to get through. Let's see. Alondra, hello Lavi, how's your day been? It's been tiring, it's been good. Right, you know, when I started this stream, I didn't know how hyper / energetic I'd be, but, you know, I'm pretty energetic. Which is kind of a surprise. Ugh. My throat was starting to get scratchy and sound like Amy. Now I'm getting flashbacks to when I played DDLC with Drew and Amanda, and I had to drink a whole bunch of, like, what's it? Thermos? It's not a thermos. I don't think it's a thermos, is it? Tumbler. Yeah, that's what it is. But I had, like, tumbler full things of just straight up hot cocoa. I think it was, when was it? I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since we've done any streams together. But, I had, like, 2 huge mugs of hot cocoa. 'Cause, I mean, I got tea, but it didn't work. Well, I never drank the tea. 'Cause I'm a stickler. I don't really like tea. I'd rather drink hot cocoa first. And surprisingly, when we did those DDLC streams, my throat would be fine if I drank hot cocoa, which was honestly a surprise because hot cocoa doesn't have any, like, hot cocoa doesn't have any properties to help a sore throat, but my god did it work. I drank strictly Oreo hot cocoa and mint Oreo. I think I drank more so the mint Oreo. It smelled like coffee, which was disgusting, but I drank it and, like, you know, I'd still sound sick because I was sick when we did these streams, but man, that's I was sick for like the entirety of doing those streams. Damn. But like, I would drink a lot of hot cocoa. That's why, you know, like, Natsuki was kind of more nasally than Amy, where she's like,
I'm Natsuki. Did you really have to bring a boy here?
Like, that kind of nasally. And then Yuri was slightly updrift, but she sounded nasally because I was sick. But you know, I would like hot cocoa, even though it doesn't have magical properties of tea, like herbal tea, but it helped a lot, although I had to take a lot of sips because it was so hot and it burnt my tongue a couple times. It helped a lot with the process of me being able to talk, because with these streams, these are the times where I talk the most to, you know, you guys, or if I'm, say, with, you know, Amanda, Drew, or any of the other cast members, I tend to lose my voice more so because I continuously talk. I can't help it because I'm a chatterbox, but if I don't talk, then people are like, why isn't she talking? So, you know, I try to be talkative. Let's see. My one weakness is drawing the back of my OCs when they're looking at something. I feel that. I feel that to a T. Sonic coming. Hi, Drew. I was just talking about you. But yeah, I had to drink a whole bunch of hot cocoa for those streams. It was so bad, cause, and my connection was terrible too. Granted, my connection's shitty still too, but, you know, it's somewhat not really gotten better on my Chromebook, but I'm using a different streaming thing for this art stream, to where it's not as skippy as the old one, I think. Granted, you know, there's some parts where it's a little bit freezy, or, you know, slow, but, you know, it's just, Oh my gosh, Amanda! Bro, why is your name not blue? Hang on a second. Jesus, I never knew. I thought I set you as moderator, my guy. When my name is set, I appear. Honestly, I feel the same way, but, you know, I don't appear like, you know, some magician out of a hat. You know, a rabbit out of a hat or some shit. But hi, guys. But yeah, talking about, like, streams and stuff. I mean, I really want to get back into doing... Shit. Sorry. I was about to start talking about, you know, wanting to do more, cast streams where we do visual novels, but Pumpkin Hill started to play, and then I just got the image of, you know, from, like, Penny Parker's, real-time fandoms. Okay. Christy Wolf, whoa. Make me blue, woo. Dude, I thought I made you blue for DDLC. What the hell? Did my channel be like, hey, no, you just, no. let's see. BJ Wolf, hello, welcome to the stream. Amanda, I told him you were talking about DDLC. Lol. Gonna do those infinite lines through at some point. You know, whenever you can, that's good with me. But you know, Amanda told me the issues of. I think you guys are still moving stuff, right? Where it's less echoey or something. I don't remember. I'm sorry, my memory's terrible. But yeah, like, whenever you can, when you're able to record, that's good with me. Which, yeah. I don't know what I was gonna say after that, I don't know. Your drawing is good. Thank you! I'm trying to improve more so as I go. The picture is coming out well, thank you. Way past cool drawing. Thank you. It greatly helps my motivation to continue the comic. Why am I getting that love ship vibe between Iris and Infinite? Like, what the heck? Maybe because they are shipped together? Which, you know, Drew, if he was in stream right now, during the stream, he'd say, you know, Iris Finite. And I'd be like, no, it's Inferius. But, you know, I'll let him win this time. It's, Iris Finite. For the ship. It's like a trade-off between those two, because, like, I originally was like, yeah, it's like, you know, Iris Finite. Wait. Yeah. No, Inferius. Shit. Now I'm getting confused. But, Inferius was the original ship name that I gave it, but, you know, it's been kind of traded off between Iris Finite and Inferius a little bit. Granted, you know, I was like, you know, I guess I don't care now. But, I can't sleep like that, but I try my best to make perfect draws. I mean, poor Iris, you know, at the end of issue 1, she's like, hey, I kind of destroyed my world, and then Infinite's like, yeah, you're gonna be like, coming into Mobius, like, how you doing? Your world's destroyed because, I'm sorry, but it was my fault, but I'm not gonna admit it, cause, I'm Infinite, but, he ends up bringing her to Mobius, cause he's like, oh, it's the only place she'll be safe. My drawing for you might be posted on my channel in a couple hours. Oh, that's very sweet of you. Which I'm hoping I can do this stream a little bit longer than what I'm going for, because there's a stream I'm actually trying to, not on the channel, but catch around my time at 8 p.m. So this stream's probably not going to be too long, but you know, I'm going to complete as much as I can on the comic. Because y'all deserve some plot points. Let me see. Sorry, I want to say I can't draw like that, but I tried my best. I mean, this is probably a crappy way of saying it, because, you know, a lot of people say it, but it takes practice. Like, I'm not kidding, it takes practice. You know, some people joke and are like, oh, you know, you have magical powers or some stupid shit like that. But, no, it takes practice. You know, as long as you persevere and stuff, you know, you're able to do it. My time currently is 4:09. So we have a while before I'm like, gotta go. I mean, this stream was... I was originally gonna have the stream cut off at 6, but I'm probably not gonna get a shower. I'm stupid. I'm probably not gonna get a shower anyway. But, with my thing, I'm trying to think. I can maybe go till 7, depending how early or late I do some chores. But besides that, you know,
It's okay.
But, yeah. Going back to, like, the love ship relationship. But, with TC, I don't want to make it, like, you know, some of you might be rolling your eyes like, ugh, you know, disgusting. You know, you're making an OC X canon ship OC thing comic. And I don't want to be like, I don't want to create a comic like I did the last time I did one of these OC ship things. Because, you know, I had some of the chemistry there, but it was executed so poorly. Not like, I'm not gonna say like how terrible it went, but it was more of like, oh, you know, the canon character or whatever that was shipped with my OC was more protective and such, which Infinite kind of is with Iris, but he doesn't admit it. Because, granted, you know, people might roll their eyes at the aspect of what I'm going for Infinite in the comic, but with, like, if I created Fallen Brethren, which is the other comic I'm going to work on, which holds the origin story for Infinite, because Sega was like, oh, he's not getting an origin story, ha! But, I'm going to try, that's, like, the reason why Infinite acts the way he is right now in TC is mainly because of Fallen Brethren, and a little bit of Sonic Forces, without being like, yeah, I totally, you know, was like ripping off Sonic Forces. Because, with Fallen Brethren, I can spoil it because it's an origin comic for him, and he's a canon character, and it doesn't matter. And it doesn't involve the storyline of TC that much. Besides one of the characters that will be only shown in one of the panels eventually. But, in Fallen Brethren, Infinite gets abused as a child. He's an orphan, but I was explaining this in last stream. He gets quote-unquote adopted by a mercenary named Alisterian. And Alisterian is not the nicest bulb in the box, or, you know, the brightest one. Well, not, he is a bright person, but not in the positive aspect that you may think. He's more negative, he's more abusive physically, emotionally, and mentally to Infinite. He names Infinite some point in Fallen Brethren. I don't know what point, but it'll be in the comic. But, you know, he makes Infinite the way he is currently. Because whenever Infinite tried to care or, you know, was bright, Alisterian didn't really like that very much of him, because he believed if you're going to become, you know, my protege, or, you know, the next mercenary that ties kind of a little to my name, you know, I want you to be stone cold. I want you to be hard in the sense of being cruel. And poor Infinite gets abused by this character in Fallen Brethren, and he can't escape it until kind of TC a little bit. Not because, oh, you know, it's OCX canon, but it's more of the sense of he's trying to please his former mentor. He's trying to make him proud by doing these certain things that he believes are a positive way to get noticed. Because whenever Infinite, you know, wouldn't try to fight Alisterian in training and stuff, you know, whenever he pushed him down, he would call him weak, pathetic, and that's kind of why, like, in Fallen Brethren, I tried to use that as a way to explain why Infinite is triggered by Shadow calling him pathetic / weak. because it's a trigger word to the PTSD that he suffered due to being abused as a child. Let's see. Okay, we are in the same time zone. Okay, okay. What? Now I'm in love with the ship. I definitely ship them. Why, thank you. I ship them too. I try to make their relationship not be all lovey-dovey. I mean, there will be some cute moments, but not in the sense that people are thinking. Because the last question I got from the last stream when I was working on a TC page where Ace was in it, people were someone asked, is there going to be, you know, funny moments and such? And there will be, but, you know, like, the comic is supposed to be perceived as a little bit more serious than on the humor aspect. There will be one-liners, there will be jokes galore, but there'll also be some depressing and more serious topics within the comic. Either by a certain character full out stating it, or a character showing signs of abuse, or that type of thing. It's a way to deepen how the character's psyche looks, because, I mean, I shouldn't say this because I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a doctor, but, with Infinite being abused as a child for everything, you know, Alsterian would abuse him for everything mainly. And, you know, he would be like, you're not seeking my approval, I'm not proud of you if you don't do this, this, and this. And that's why in Fallen Brethren, and, well, I'll explain kind of by tying in Sonic Forces / the Rise of Infinite comic that Sega was like, this is the official thing of how he, you know, joined up with Eggman. But, Fallen Brethren kind of explains why, and it kind of shows why Infinite the way he is the way he is in Forces and in the Rise of Infinite. 'Cause in Fallen Brethren, Infinite seeks approval from Alsterian all the time as a kid because he got abused for mainly everything that Alsterian seemed as weak and pathetic and not strong enough. But, with him, there's a reason why Infinite's the way he is, and poor Infinite, he tries to seek his mentor's approval all the time. And, like, Sega missed a good opportunity. I don't know if they were plotting for Infinite to show signs of, PTSD by, him being like, he's calling me weak. I am not weak, type thing I went off on where he got triggered. But, that's kind of why in Fallen Brethren, he seeks approval at every turn. That's why in Forces, Infinite is like, hey, Eggman, I saw the world being destroyed if I helped you. So, like, yeah, can I join up with you? Because that would totally, make my mentor proud of me. That's why he joins up with Eggman. That's why he, quote-unquote, destroys the world with Eggman. Where, like, Sonic's like, you can't do that, and pow. But, it also ties into TC, because with TC, voice crack, but, with TC, that's why in issue 1, because I know at least one of you, or two of you, have read the comic, issue 1 already. Issue 1's pretty short, because it's like 21 odd pages, but with that comic, issue 1, the pacing is terrible, but with Infinite in issue 1, he's still seeking his mentor's approval. That's why he tries to steal the ruby from Iris. That's why he's like, hey, you know, I'm gonna manipulate you into liking me, and being like, sorry, gonna like throw you at a tree. Bye, peace. I'm gonna go steal that ruby now. But that's why he's the way he is, cause he's still seeking his mentor's approval even at the age he is currently at. Not in TC issue 2, because issue 2 he kind of understands the error of his ways in issue 1. You know, because in issue 1, for those who have read it, you've noticed Ace's eye color in issue 2 already, and you've noticed Iris's eye color change in issue 1 towards the end, when she gets quote-unquote corrupted. And I explained this in the last stream, but Iris is using the powers of not Infinite, sorry, mixing up names. Ace, because Ace is taking out old grudges that he's had on the civilization that Iris lives in. And he kind of uses similar powers to the Phantom Ruby without, you know, actually using the Phantom Ruby, because those are Ace's powers, not the Phantom Rubies. But, with Ace, you know, he's using his powers, and, you know, Infinite doesn't know any better. He thinks it's the Phantom Ruby. So he can kind of see from a different point of view, you know, like a side character's view, from a side character's view, that, hang on a second. He can kind of see the effect of what his powers, you know, powers that are similar to his, have done to people. You know, he's not the one destroying or killing people in a war. It's somebody else, somebody who's innocent, somebody who hasn't, you know, been on a job that has high risk. Definitely should, okay. I have a feeling like Ace is going to just come out of nowhere and seize this. He doesn't really see this if you're talking about, what's currently happening in page 39 right now with Infinite and Iris. Let's see. Another thing that Sega didn't show in Forces is that Shadow supposedly defeated the Jackal Squad, but they never show it except in the comic Rise of Infinite. In the Rise of Infinite, they didn't show that either. Because in the Rise of Infinite, that's when, Infinite and his squad are like, you know, Jackal Squad, move out, you know, time to capture Eggman or whatever, because he's doing it for a job. And in Rise and Infinite, he goes straight for Eggman, because Infinite is badass. He is amazing. Hang on a second. What? Now look where you are. Oh shit. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hang on a second. I'm gonna have to redo all this text. I just noticed now that little old me forgot a small bubble thing. But as I was saying, without pulling a huge big dumb, but that's why in Rise of Infinite, that's why in Rise of Infinite, sorry, I'm like trying to focus on trying to draw, but also trying to explain. But, that's why in Rise of Infinite. Where was I going with this? Hang on, I'm trying to think. Right, I was talking about Infinite, okay. So, in the Rise of Infinite, it's basically, you know, Eggman has the ruby, and Infinite goes, you know, for Eggman is like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna smite you, I'm gonna stab you with my saber. But, you know, Eggman's like, with the ruby, and, you know, Infinite smacks his sword or whatever against it, and he's like, what? Because the world changes around him, and he's like, oh my, there's destruction everywhere. And with the comic, for the Rise of Infinite, he's like, towards the end of it, you know, that Sega was like, yeah, this is the Rise of Infinite, you know, it's Sega material. It's owned by Sega. But, he's like, the world was getting boring anyway, you know, type thing. And it's just, you don't treat a character that way without backstory. Like, here we have Infinite, who's a mercenary. We're like, okay, you know, he's fighting. You know, sure, you know, mercenaries can get bored of the same jobs over and over again, but there's really no context behind him being like, the world was getting boring anyway, you know, type thing. Without, you know, having a look inside his head of where, you know, what he's thinking in that time frame. Because the effects of the world burning could be a small sign of what he wished would happen due to how he was treated as a kid. Which is why I'm making Fallen Brethren, because Sega couldn't do the job right, so I might as well do it myself. This is very pretty. Thank you! It means a lot to me that people enjoy the comic, either design-wise or, you know, story-wise. I mean, both's good too. Both is good, but, you know. And then after I type up this last thing, I will quickly read through it. So I know I spelled things correctly. Or at least made the sentence correct. Sega did not do justice. They really didn't. You see, like, you know, with Infinite, they had a great character that they could have made not exactly like Mephiles from Sonic 06, because I said this in last stream too, but more of, they didn't know how to go about his origin story to kind of shine through the game. And let's just be honest, Forces was just, ugh. Forces was a cesspool of plot holes everywhere. Game mechanics were terrible. The design was fine. It's more of the animators' fault of Sonic and some character, well, Sonic and company not being so expressive with stupid chow. But, that's why I'm like, you know, might as well take my chance in doing it. Let's see. I have a cat on my lap, and now I can barely type send help. I wish I could, but I can't. Cats are very independent. They're like, hey, you wanna get up? Not happening. They could have done a little more for Mephiles too, I think, just my opinion, a little. Yeah, Mephiles, his story was a little funky as well, but I feel like Sega executed the backstory of explaining why he's the way he is a little bit better than what they did with Infinite. because with Mephiles, you understood he's the dark to the light of like the sun god or whatever. You know, he wants total destruction of the world, you know. We saw this in I know I'm pausing this page right here, but we saw it in Shadow's storyline of Sonic 06 that, you know, we saw them go back in time, Silver and Shadow go back in time, entrapping Mephiles in the wand thing, Scepter of Darkness or whatever, because I don't remember the exact object's name, but I'll say Scepter of Darkness. And we kind of understood his burning hatred for Shadow. We could understand his backstory a little bit. You know, he's evil. He's the side effect of, you know, he's the dark to the light of the sun god, and if mixed together into one being, they can destroy and obliterate the world. You got that within, towards the middle, or the quarter part of Shadow's story. And granted, you know, Sonic 06 had some plot holes, but they executed Mephiles way better than what they did with Infinite. And yeah, honestly, this is kind of very stupid of Sega. They keep recycling the same memo over and over again. I don't know if people have noticed, but Sonic 06, Forces, the Tangle and Whisper comics, Shadow is present in all three storylines of trapping Mephiles in the Scepter of Darkness, obliterating Infinite Squad, and Shadow androids, which are technically, you know, Shadow, obliterating Whisper's squad. Only two of those characters got somewhat better development. One went down a darker road for revenge and hatred and anger and wanting to kill everything. And then you have Whisper, who didn't go down that path. She was innocent. She is still upset about what happened to her squad. And they just did not treat Infinite the way a villain should be treated. If they were trying to make him a villain, they would have done so much better on the aspect of his storyline, of expressing why he's this way, instead of making him sound like a villain. You got the aspects of him looking like a villain, but you don't, like, you make him sound like, edgy, we're gonna end the world. Sonic, you're stupid, you're weaker than me, oh wait, I'm getting beat up, type thing. And it is so stupid. Sega did not know what they were doing. That's not how you work with villains. That's not how you treat villains. You give them a backstory. You give them the reasons why they are edgy, you know, angry, irritated, filled with burning hatred. Like, it's infuriating that they had that with Mephiles. With Mephiles, you could tell by his theme. You know, the little thing in his theme and his design, but it was mainly the theme that dealt it, and the way the lines were delivered for the character that made you know he's evil. He could obliterate us. You know, we need to step around this thing carefully. And Sega didn't do that for Infinite. They're like, oh yeah, you know, voice actor for Infinite. Sound like a villain. Here's your lines. Perceive it any way you wish to, you know. Be edgy, be cringy, you know. Don't sound like you're being emotional and whatsoever besides, I am not weak, you know, for Shadow's episode. Like, you don't treat Infinite that way. You don't treat any villain that way. Acutely, why did Infinite wanted to work for Eggman in the first place, and why was he defending a lab in the Mystic Jungle? Like, there was no reason for Sega to do that. I feel salty right now. Honestly, I feel the same way. I never played Forces, but I saw the I saw walkthroughs. I saw, like, the CG, not the CG. Like, on YouTube, there will occasionally be, like, cutscene movies where they have all the cutscenes squished together so you can watch it like a huge movie. I did that for Lost World because I was like, not playing the entire game because A, storyline was terrible, B, they could have developed the villains, the Zeddy, a little bit more than they did already. I'm sorry, I'm going on a whole rant about Infinite because Sega doesn't know how to treat their villain characters. But yeah, I think it was a really good game, but people keep saying how bad it was when it really wasn't. The people who hate it the most seem to have a problem with Silver. Oh, Silver. Sonic 06, yeah, it was Silver's game, technically, because you got introduction to his backstory. You got emotions. You knew he was the type who wanted to defend his world, who wanted to protect it, who wanted to save it. Granted, you know, he didn't know that with his world, excuse me, like, he lives in an apocalyptic world, right? Usually when you mess with the timeline, it does change things in the future, but in the aspect of Sonic 06, the world would have ended anyway, because it will eventually end, because, you know, Sonic would be gone, the heroes would be gone, there'd be new heroes, there'll be new villains type thing. And, you know, Silver's world wouldn't have changed. It may have changed a little bit, but it wouldn't have changed that much. But I think the main thing that made people triggered about Silver was how oblivious he was to understanding Methylis is not good. You know, Blaze is slightly skeptical. She's only going along with Silver because she wants to protect him, but I think she also wanted him to see it as a lesson for him learning that you can't trust everyone who's like, I know who runs your world type thing. And, you know, like, Blaze was originally in the apocalyptic world with Silver in Sonic 06. And then, you know, the iconic scene of her sacrificing herself, being like, trap us in another dimension type thing. She ends up going into, you know, Sonic Rush or whatever, which is quote-unquote her game. But, you have that wall of someone who's trying to protect Silver being gone, because Silver wasn't able, he didn't have, this is a stupid way of explaining it, but he didn't have the powers to trap Iblis within his body, because he wanted to sacrifice himself more so than Blaze, but Blaze stepped up. She knew the consequences of what would happen. And Silver, he didn't want to send Blaze away, but he knew if he didn't transport her to a different dimension, then his world would not be the same. You know, it wouldn't, like, his world would still be the same technically, but, you know, it wouldn't change for the better. It'd be worse. And you have that sense of protection for Silver that's entirely gone now. Once she sacrifices herself, Silver's by himself. And that's why, with Silver, he's slightly he takes beauty in everything in the past, but he has that shred of a person who kind of voices concerns and is, sort of like, hey, this might not be a good idea, is entirely gone. So the sense of, what's the word? A sense of a moral compass. You know, the dependency on a person who you know will be there to not stray you from the right answer is gone. And Silver doesn't have that anymore. And I think that's probably why people despised Silver, besides the whole "it's no use" thing, but you know, Sonic 06 had plot holes, but there are some things that can be explained without Sonic 06 being changed, but it's more of the way of how you perceive the game and the relationships the characters have with each other, to where you can understand, hey, you know, Blaze is kind of like Silver's anchor in his world. If she's gone, then he isn't able to think straight. He kind of goes off on his own without someone saying, hey, this is probably not the right idea. And with and going into the topic of like Sonic Forces and stuff, like generations, Silver honestly shouldn't have been there, because he would have been happy in his, because, you know, originally in Sonic 06, granted, you know, Sega's like, that doesn't exist anymore, but where there's people who hate Silver, there's also people who enjoy him as a character. And those people want to see Silver more, but it, like, the main storyline right now that we have, where you have generations, forces, Silver is not explained to be there, unless, you know, Silver saw in Forces that, A, Eggman's gonna win type thing, which he saw in the IDW comics, which are standalone, which are kind of based unintentionally after Forces, which was kind of intentionally, but Sega did not know how to go about it. But, Silver has a reason in IDW to be there, to be, you know, in Sonic's world, consistently trying to stop the Zombot problem that's currently happening. Granted, you know, we don't have a comic or issue since I don't know when. Silver went off in his own little world, went, bye. But, Silver, even in IDW, doesn't have that moral stability. Granted, you know, Blaze comes back because, burning Blaze! But, you know, you can see the relationship of Silver needing that stability from another person. Insistent. If you noticed, this is like going into, the annual that my cast dubbed, because I don't think a lot of people dubbed the annual, but my cast did. And you can see that Silver's trying to make a garden where it was a war zone, and you can see that Blaze is trying to teach him a lesson, that if you just listen, instead of being insistent on pressuring things to change, they won't change. You gotta listen and hear their problems and help them grow in order for them to get better or eventually grow as a person or, you know, a thing. And with Forces, Blaze wasn't in Forces at all, so Silver lacked the stability of someone being there to help him, guide him through, hey, it's not smart to go alone, because in Forces, where Silver's up against Infinite in the main storyline, he gets beaten up by Infinite. And that's because Silver is a lot irrational. He goes into situations he thinks he can handle, but he truly cannot. And Silver needs that stability in order to A, grow, and B, understand that you need to depend somewhat on others instead of yourself to fix the problem. I love the way you explain stuff. I'm trying to, because, you know, Sega doesn't thoroughly explain a lot of stuff. Yeah, I definitely do believe he did need Blaze. I enjoy him, but he is only necessary for certain situations. That is true, and the same goes for if the future is affected, because that's the world he lives in. Well, at the end of Sonic Forces, basically we don't know what happened to Infinite in the last final battle with the Death Egg robot. Okay. Let me explain this one for you. They set the ending where Infinite's disappearing as a potential, hey, he may be coming back. Which in itself is not a bad thing, but when you set up a character that is meaning to be great, because, you know, in the trailers before Sonic Forces came out, people were hyped for Infinite. They were like, yeah, he has this badass theme. He's gonna kick the shit out of Sonic. He's gonna be another villain like Mephiles. He's gonna be greater. And Sega was like, you know what? We're gonna make him edgy. We're gonna make him a pessimist. We're gonna be like, he's gonna be triggered every single time someone calls him weak. Oh, sorry. But, he's like,
Hey, you know what? I'll fight Sonic. I will totally win.
but he ends up losing anyway. But, sorry, I'm like coughing because I'm like deep breathing. Give me a sec. But, with Sega, they set up Infinite towards the end of Forces to be like, yeah, he's coming back. But I think Sega missed their opportunity to make Infinite memorable in the way they wanted him to be. They set him up as a character that's memorable in a negative context, where he doesn't have the good qualities of a villain. So if Sega does bring him back, you know, I'll be like, okay, cool, Sega, but, you know, you missed your chance already. Let's see. Hey, Lavi, funny fact, in stage 25, I think in Sonic Forces, I died 32 times. I was 13 at the time, and I didn't pay attention to the whole game or what was happening. That's because Sega, instead of, like, granted, you know, it probably would have cost more money, but all that Sega cares about is getting money and rushing their games. If they didn't rush their games, you would have a storyline like Sonic Unleashed. You'd have not CGI, cutscenes that are better involved. And I don't know, this is like an example, but there are some artists who started off great, but their style continuously declined to where it looks like a 5-year-old drawn it and colored it, where the proportions and anatomy are terrible. And Sega's kind of doing that decline right now, because they did Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2. This is going into, like, not the, arcade games. You know, Shadow the Hedgehog game, Sonic Unleashed, like, oh yeah, Black Knight, Secret Rings, like, the game mechanics weren't that great for some things, but their style of expressing Sonic when he's trying to deliver a line, and the way, not the way he looks, but the way he expresses those lines and his movements are stiffer than what they started with. Sonic 06, you could see he was emotional. Sonic Unleashed, the Night of the Werehog short thing that they did, Sonic was expressive, he was cocky, you could tell by the expression on his face, you could see it in his eyes. They've slowly declined even more. Sonic Generations was okay, it was kind of like, here's some nostalgia with classic Sonic, yeah. But, you know, they brought classic Sonic back into Forces, and classic honestly shouldn't have been there. If you took classic out of the entire equation of the storyline and replaced the scene where Tails is almost getting attacked by Chaos and put like the custom character in there, classic Sonic couldn't have been in the game. And, you know, towards the end, they set up Infinite possibly returning by him disappearing, going off. But they also have Sonic say, "I'm sure we'll see him again," type thing to Classic, and it's just setting up another story for failure. If you're going to bring back old customs that once were served as nostalgia into a storyline where they don't exactly fit. If you had a dark story similar to Sonic 06, Infinite would fit in perfectly, with a better backstory description of him. But Classic Sonic is the worst character you could put in Forces or in any other games, unless they had like a 20th anniversary type thing that they did with Generations, where it was nostalgia, where it fit the storyline. That is where Classic Sonic would be beautifully placed. Put him in another game like Forces, ooh, you're setting yourself up for destruction. Let's see. And I've spent 3 hours to finish it. It's all because of that one stage. Could you explain what's going on in your comic? Wow, what colored eyes does your OC have? Okay, so Iris, if you're talking about Iris, she has green eyes. I can open up a page. Where is a good one of Iris? Here we are. There you go. I'll put that on there while I explain what's going on in my comic for the phase, I believe. Yeah. So currently I'll explain issue 1 briefly. So in TC, other known as Tainted Corruption, issue 1, the story is mainly set up to be Infinite getting a little redeemed, but more in the sense of he can see what his actions that he would have done, that he has done, you know, destroying things wise, can affect a different person. In the sense of him, like, you know, in Forces he's destructive, he wants to destroy the world. But in this sense, it's somebody who's innocent, who doesn't know violence, that is destroying the world right now. Her world, her civilization in issue 1. And he's like, well, crap. I don't like that. And, I don't want to spoil a part of the comic of issue 2, but I'm going to anyway. No, I'm not. But, with Infinite, he kind of grows to understand, hey, you know, the things that Alasterian did were not correct. I don't have to seek approval every time. Make him a feminist. I'm kidding. But, but with, issue 2, Infinite is more of trying to protect Iris from what's, you know, from his world a little bit, because he took her from a world that didn't know violence, that didn't know corruption and such, and has dropped her in a world filled with violence, with fighting, and everything of the hellish input that you can have from, like, the Sonic main storyline. And he tries to protect her by keeping her at his house until she forgives him, but, he's trying to protect her without being like, huh, yeah, you know, I kind of care for you, so I will protect you, but, let's see, is Gadget going to be in this comic, just out of curiosity? I can definitely answer that one with previous pages. So, this is where reading the comic would be great. So, page 33, Ace is like, you look like you're in a hurry. And then, of course, Sonic's like, scream! Wherever you are, come out where I can see you. And then, of course, Ace transforms into Gadget. And is like, of course, but you know me. It's just, you haven't seen me in a while, Sonic. And then he's like, Gadget, and he's like, the one and only, I take it you came to investigate that light? Yeah. And then, of course, Sonic's not smart about this because, you know, he's dealt with hallucination, Phantom Ruby type stuff before, but he's never dealt with this bad thing. So he's like, so I'm guessing you already checked it out? I did. I couldn't find much except I found these. Those look like remains of a Phantom Ruby. Interesting. Yeah, all of them were destroyed. Hey, did you by chance see Infinite? Possibly. Possibly? What do you mean by that? And then... ooh, baby boy with horns comes in and is like, what I mean by it is that your worry about finding him is gravely misplaced. What are you? Such a rude question. You Mobians don't ask important questions. A better question would have been, who am I? Type thing. So yeah, Gadget kind of briefly shows up in the comic, but it's Ace. Mainly because I love Ace, and Ace is kind of an asshole, so. Let's see. Okay. So he's like, huh? She's sleeping. He's like, I can't believe I think I spelled believe correctly. I'm like second guessing myself. Okay, I spelled it correctly. I'm saying this, but I'm sorry. I led you to do something you didn't want. Now look where you are. Homeless and stuck on my world. It's somehow bittersweet. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Yeah, kind of uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Now the fun part, I get to save this, and then what I'll do is I'll post it to Twitter real quick, as well as the channel and my DeviantArt. That way it's there. And then I can start sketching up line arting page 40. Okay, so go to YouTube. Let's see. But yeah. I hope you guys know that, like, if you literally get me talking on ways to fix, like, Sonic Forces or Infinite as a character, I will go on a full-out rant like I did a couple minutes ago. I'm sadly terrible like that, but I can't help it. Infinite was robbed. Infinite was flippin' robbed. Hey Lavi, if this comic took 2 years to make, will there be an issue 3 in the future? Yes, there is indeed an issue 3 that is planned to happen. There will be some aspects from issue 2 that kind of trickle into issue 3, but ho ho ho, there's a bigger storm coming for issue 3. Mainly because issue 3 is a little bit more chaotic. Because, yes, there'll be some moments where, you know, triggered. Hi, how you doing? Infinite? You baby? No, you triggered. There will be moments like that, but there will also be moments where terrible stuff happens. Let's see. Infinite is child. He truly is. Like, if I could adopt him, he'd be my child, but that'd be kind of weird because, you know, I ship my OC with him. So, yeah, that'd be kind of weird. But, you know, Infinite is baby, okay? Protect baby at all costs. I want to adopt Infinite. Same, honestly. You know, like, Sega, give me the legal rights to Infinite right now. I will take better care of him than you are right now. Infinite is son, must protect. Alright, let me quickly upload this to one of the Discord groups, put it in my folder. What I'll do is close... Uh-oh. I'll close page 38, but then open up the new page that's gonna get line arted. Which is strictly Infinite. You can tell I appreciate this character more than Sega does. I will help co-parent. Yes, you'll be... I will be of both mother and father, and you can be both of mother and father. Infinite is my child now. I am his oh shit, what's the word? I'll be his foster parent. That'd be kind of terrible though. Cuz you know, Iris is my baby. She's kind of like my child. And you know, I ship Iris with Infinite. That's just incest waiting to happen. Which is terrible, but, you know, that's not gonna happen. You know, I love Infinite, but, you know, I'm not gonna adopt you for that, no. But, let me close these. And then we can start line arting page 40. What if someone cosplayed as your lovely Ace? Dude, I would fucking sob my eyeballs out. You don't even know. Like, it would not be the I'm upset crying. It would be the, oh my god, you love my character enough to actually cosplay as him. Thank you. See, he is your son-in-law. You're right, he is my son-in-law. He is my son-in-law. You're not wrong there, because since this is an OC slash, you know, shipping comic thing, I can spoil the shit out of this, I guess, because, you know, it's a shipping comic. There's no way they're gonna be broken up anyway, so. Do I still have the screenshot? Do I still have... There it is. The babes. I love them. Sorry. I'm low-key, like, flexing. Being like, here's Iris, here's Infinite. Here are their children. And yes, they have a bee child. They have a bee child. An adoptive bee daughter. Named Crescent. And I love all of them. You got Iris, you got Xaver, who is a jackal, like his dad. And then you got Crescent, who is a blue carpenter bee, and I love her so much. And then you have Infinite. I need to stop while I'm ahead. Okay, let's start lining arting. Yeah, I can speak. Let's start line arting this page before I start like going full out. Yes, he's my son-in-law type thing. That'd kind of be bad on stream. Like, oh yeah, Infinite's my son-in-law. Alrighty, let's see. Because you have to make the eye socket, and then you gotta do this and that. I'm low-key one of those weird people that really love the little tufts on the side of his face. I'm like, yeah, you know what would be better for Infinite? More tuft. I need to stop. No, he's depressed. Don't give him a happy expression, looking like he's awkward. Bro, where are your eyes looking? Okay. That's right, your eyes are looking off in that direction because you're touching Iris's face. Hold up. Bro, did I literally draw like a hand thingy on her face when he's literally walking away? I'm big dumb. But yeah, in the sense of Infinite, I think he's borderline the first OC. No, not first OC. What the hell am I saying? He's the first canon character that I decided to ship at all with one of my Sonic OCs. Cause, when I first designed Iris when I was a kid, because she was a terrible recolor edit, when I was a kid, she was shipped with Shadow. And you know, when I redesigned her and I found out that Infinite existed, I was like, ooh, you know, Shadow wouldn't really work with the storyline very well. So I went with Infinite instead, and I'm like, I'm glad I shipped Iris with Infinite, to be honest. Let's see. I feel like if you adopted Infinite, will your beautiful Ace get jelly because you love Ace like he's your actual son? Ace may be an asshole, but you're correct. I love him like an actual son. His dickish personality and all. But, I think Infinite would be more so irritated than Ace. Because Ace would find it as an opportunity to just mess with Infinite more so, because he'd be like, oh, Infi, we live together now, you know, we're family. And, Infinite would not deal with that. Infinite would not deal with that. He would absolutely despise it. He would walk out the door. He'd be like, nope, I'm done with this. You ain't my brother. Peace out. But, yeah. I love your live streams. Why, thank you. I'm glad to have the opportunity to do these live streams, because it allows me a chance to interact with the fan base of the channel, as well as force myself to do work. Because I can tell you right now, if I wasn't streaming and I was working on this comic page right now, I would be, like, my ADHD would be kicking in hardcore, and I'd be going bing bing bing. In the sense of, I would be looking at YouTube videos instead of drawing. I'm that bad. Don't think I'm not, like, if I were to record the long pauses for where I'm just looking at a YouTube video instead of actually drawing, then I wouldn't be getting any work done. Which is why I kind of do these streams, because it forces me to actually do work. And talking about streams, cause I know that cause one of our voice actors, Drew, he's done a couple streams where he'll do the editing process of dubs and stuff during stream so people can see the entire process. And I might do that one time. Like a live stream on YouTube. I doubt it'll work, but like a live stream where you guys can see the process of the dubs, how they're kind of pieced together in the sense of you know, showing the process of how long it takes me to put together dubs and stuff. Human Ace, like if he was an anime character. Funny you mentioned that. Do I have... I don't think I do. Shoot. I once did draw Infinite as a human character, and if Amanda's in chat, I don't know where she is, she's probably doing something else, but if she was on stream right now, she could vouch for me because I showed her a Human Ace doodle that I did, and it was kind of terrible because, you know, Ace had a nose, but I drew Human Ace and I was like, yeah. He looks ugly as a human. But, yeah. Who saw the Super Bowl halftime? I didn't, but, I don't know if anybody else was able to catch it or not, but from, like, I don't watch sports because I don't like sports, but, they never had a Sonic trailer. Like, with, cause on YouTube there was like, cause you know for Super Bowl and stuff they have ads in between the games and stuff, and apparently there was supposed to be a Sonic trailer in between there, in one of the, kind of breaks they have. And, like, I mean, I asked my, you know, family, because they watched the Super Bowl. I was like, hey, I didn't miss, like, the Sonic ads, did I? And apparently, they never aired them. At all. At all. Which is very disheartening. I don't know if they showed any trailers for, like, Birds of Prey, but it's kind of disheartening because I don't know if they promised to show an ad, you know, for the Sonic movie, but it's very disheartening where you're like, yeah, there's gonna be an ad for the Sonic movie, just you wait, it's gonna be on the Super Bowl, and not following through with your promise. It's very disheartening because you had these people who were kind of hyped to see the trailer, like, on the actual TV in order to capture it, but then kind of going back on your word and being like, yeah, you know, not really gonna show that in between Super Bowl things. Which, you know, someone may have saw the trailer on Super Bowl and I may be totally wrong, but, you know, it's depressing. It's really depressing. But yeah, I really need to get a sip of Sprite or else I'm gonna lose my voice. think someone should make an Ace, Iris, and Infinite plush. The funny thing about that, Alondra, is that, they're on the website Etsy. I honestly thought of this. There was a character from Devil May Cry 5 named V. And Drew knows this character because he absolutely hates him. And I absolutely love V. And this character, I ended up sketching up a ref because the Etsy seller that made these plushes was like, you have to draw the character yourself and I'll make it into a plush. And I had enough money saved up to buy one of these plushes. And I kind of, I was kind of looking at it and thinking, okay, what do I want more? Do I want, a plush of V. I almost said the character's actual name, but V, who has never had a plush of him, or do I get a plush of Iris? Because this Etsy seller had plenty of people that designed up infinite plushes that they got, and it was a battle, I tell you. It was a choice between getting an Iris plush or getting a V plush. And I ended up going with the V plush because that's my favorite character. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Iris, but like around the time that I wanted to figure out what type of plush I wanted to get, I was like taking a break from TC because I kind of got tired of drawing Iris a tiny bit. But also the mention of an Ace plush, I never thought of that because, Ace wasn't really prominent in the storyline yet until I was in chapter 1 of issue 2, where, I'm starting to slowly get Ace in there, but where is it? There was a drawing that I did for quote unquote our squad, which consists of me, Amanda, and Drew, and we're quote unquote the squad. And what I ended up doing was, it was getting close to Christmas, and I was like, damn, I really need to draw like a Christmas art thing of the squad. And I ended up drawing Amanda's character, Hannah, who shows up in Save My Soul. Go read it, it's a side story to TC, issue 2. And of Drew's character, Tonka. I'm probably mispronouncing the shit out of that, I'm sorry, Drew. But, and my Sona Audie. And in this Christmas piece, you got my Sona holding a small little Ace plushie. And when I drew that thing, I was like, shit, he's actually adorable. Now I want one. So I'm either going to A, save up money to make my own plush of Ace, or I'm gonna ask someone to make one for me and commission it from them. Okay. What if someone cosplayed Iris? I think I expressed this, I would express the same thing for, as I did for Ace. I would ugly sob, because, oh my god, you're beautiful, I love it. And 2, I would be so happy, oh my god. Like, if TC had that great of an impact where people started making cosplays and stuff of the characters, I would sob my eyeballs out. Because, there's these people that actually read the comic, and, they love the characters to the point where they're gonna cosplay them. Like, I would sob if someone cosplayed as Iris or Ace. Any of the characters in reality. Let's see. Okay, that's understandable about the whole plush thing. Yeah. Would you give us that permission? Permission to cosplay them? As long as you gave credit to where you got the quote-unquote design slash character from, you know, where it's from, because a lot of people don't tend to credit where they get things from. As long as you'd credit it, I have no problem with people cosplaying as Iris. Like, honestly, if you were to cosplay as Iris, I would sob my eyeballs out. Even if you did like an inspiration thing where you wore an outfit similar to hers, I would sob. Like, you don't know how much that would affect me. Like, I would love it. If people drew art of them, of the TC characters, if people cosplayed as the TC characters and cast, I would first ugly cry, but then I would be so happy. Granted, you know, I'm happy either way, you know, people enjoying the comic and stuff, but like, if you go above and beyond to cosplay them, ooh, boy, you won my heart. Yes, I definitely would credit it. Cause honestly, like, cosplay is honestly really cool. I've thought about cosplay, but doesn't really fit me. In the sense of, like, I'm very pasty. And I wouldn't really, like, meet the criteria of looking like a certain character. If I really wanted to try, I could probably cosplay as Deku from My Hero Academia. I know what I'm doing for PortCon. As long as you send pictures of you in your Iris cosplay where I can sob because, my baby in reality. Like, that would brighten my day. But yeah, like, if you want to cosplay as the TC characters, go for it. If you were to cosplay as Ace, I wish you good luck. He has like, dude, I need to open up my, toy house where I have his little thing. For Ace, or Acelius. Good luck trying to make 12 horns in total. Cause boy, he has 12 horns. In total. Cause you got shoulders, that's 2. You got the little swipey things, that's 4. You got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then you got 12. You got his little unicorn looking horn, and then you got the one behind his head. I will post them and credit them on my Twitter. I think the stream has my Twitter account in the description. I believe it does. But tag me, please. I want to be able to be like, oh, it's my babies, like, type thing. I want to be like a soccer mom, or like a theater mom, where I'm like, oh my gosh, do you see how beautiful they are? They're so beautiful. Because believe me, I would do that. But yeah. TC is... this comic, I didn't know how long it would go for, to be honest. You know, I thought it would be kind of like the other comic that I was working on at the time when I started TC in the beginning. I thought it'd be kind of, like another comic that I was working on called CDWP, which was a train wreck, and, you know, ended up being canceled. But, you know, when I started working on TC as a whole, I found that I was more motivated than I was with the other comic. I wonder if I should do body paint. I will tell you this, body paint is much more easier than making a fursuit. Because I have seen, like, you know, quote-unquote Humi, wow. I meshed what I was about to say into, like, one word. I've seen human Amy cosplays where, like, they'll draw the little nose and, like, put the whites around their eyes to where it kind of exaggerates the whole Cyclops thing, because Sonic and Amy are Cyclopses, they just have like 2 pupils. But yeah, I've seen like human Amy cosplays where they have like the little nose drawn on their face. I kind of did that with my shadow thing that I did for like a school thing, because, you know, with schools and stuff, they have homecoming events where they have specific themes, and one of them was like a cartoon character, and I ended up dressing up as Shadow because I was like, hey, I have nothing infinite wise, so might as well. But like, talking about infinite, cause Amanda would know this because I post a lot on Instagram, but I have, well, recently I cut my nails, but I have super long nails to where, like, cause I used to have like black winter gloves, and whenever I was on my way home, I would kind of look at my hand and like the shadow it cast, and I was like, boy, that kind of looks like an infinite. Mainly because it looked like claws, okay? Like, I was wearing black gloves and I was living my life until I looked and I was like, well then. My nails make shadows of claws. Dear Lord. I think I will go with my original plan of this stream possibly ending at 6, but I'm gonna press it to where I'm gonna press it to where it's maybe 6:20 or 6:30 to when I end it. That way you guys have more time to interact with me if you like. And since it's towards like the tail end of the stream already, I can't, like, depending on how bad my voice is right now, because it's slowly being lost, I can start doing voice requests for any of the characters I voice. So, oh, I keep burping, Sprite. So like for characters like Amy, Iris, which I might want to hold off on the Iris voice because that one you'll get thrown into the mix when the dub comes, so I voice Amy. I voice Whisper, Tangle. Who else do I voice? I voice some extras. I voiced the female villain in Sonic Rift. So you kind of have an array of what to request, as long as, like, the request of voice-wise is appropriate. Because sometimes I'm not comfortable saying certain things. But yeah, that's technically the one I'd do. Can you do a whisper voice? Okay, so my whisper voice is a soft Russian accent. So, like, with whisper, I've done it in the annual as well as a little Christmas, you know, little sing thing that I did by myself, of course, which was a little nerve-wracking, but I couldn't help it because I was in the Christmas spirit. But yeah, that's Whisper's voice, because, you know, I wanted to give her a Russian accent. It kind of fit, as well, as long as it was soft and gentle and not as loud and as obnoxious as Tangle, because, you know, Tangle's very peppy. She's full of energy, and she's like a kid in a candy store type thing. Which, Tangle is a tiny bit higher than my normal voice. Whisper is a little bit lower, just with a Russian accent. And then, I mean, since my voice is kind of straining, you can kind of hear Amy's voice coming through.
'Cause, you know, I can't help it. I mean, my Amy voice is kind of mixed into my Natsuki voice, except it's not as loud and obnoxious and annoying.
Amy, I'd say, is, I think, a little bit more than peppy. Granted, you know, I voice an older version of Amy in the ShadAmy comic, but the gist of my Amy voice, what I did was, when I began thinking, like, because I wanted to dub more, and, you know, by myself, where I had my own cast, instead of being like, I'll just try out for this. Because, yeah, trying out for things, for characters, is all fun, but sometimes I want to work on stuff I'd like to work on. So what I did was, I ended up asking Z on DA, because I read her comic at the time. I was like, hey, you know, your comic's interesting. Would you be down if I were to dub it? You know, I wanted to get permission first before I did anything. And she was like, yeah, go for it. I'd love to see it. And she ended up becoming the co-director. And with me, like, I knew right on the spot I wanted to do Amy. Like, to be honest, like, you know, granted, I probably should have given that opportunity to other people, but, you know, I'm a little bit of a greedy bitch. And, with me, what I ended up doing was I went back and went to where I first saw Amy when I was a kid, which was the Sonic X TV show, which, you know, everyone's like, ugh, Chris, but, you know, as a kid, I enjoyed the show. And what I did was I ended up rewatching the episodes that had Amy in them, or like a couple. And what I did was I would test out the voice. I'd be like, you know, okay, so she's a little bit higher. And then I was like trying to kind of replicate a little bit. It wasn't fully an impression. It's more of my twist on it, but with my Amy thing, I was like, okay, so she's a little bit nasally. And with Amy, you know, I was like, okay.
Alrighty then, let's try out some lines from ShadAmy. Here I go.
You know, type thing. And I ended up like recording a couple on Instagram where I was testing out the lines to see if, hey, if I was a perfect fit or not. And, you know, I tried out some lines where it was, one's like,
are you sure that's what she would have wanted?
You know, type thing. And honestly, I really wanted to voice Amy, so my childhood self was like, if I can voice a character like Amy, then I should be fine. Or at least get... Because, you know, I didn't want to be a full-out impressionist, but I wanted to be relatively close to, like, the voice actress that I grew up with who voiced Amy when I was a kid. You know, I was probably 7 or 8 when I got into Sonic stuff. So, yeah. Right now you sound like Ace on the last live stream. Oh no. Do you mean like, where I'm like, oh, how extraordinary type thing? Infinite's chest is so floofy and fluff. I can agree on that. His chest is very floofy. Your voice is so nice for Amy is definitely unique. Thank you. I definitely didn't want to stray too far from my voice, but I also wanted to try and not necessarily be the character, but be pretty darn close to sounding like the character, if that makes sense. Because the voice actress that I grew up with who voiced Amy was, I think it's Lisa Ortez? Lisa Ortez? She voiced Amy in Sonic Unleashed, Sonic and the Black Knight, Sonic X. I don't think she was in Secret Rings, but she voiced Amy, and that's the voice actress I grew up with as Amy. So I was like, okay, I kind of want to, you know, match a little bit to Lisa's voice a tiny bit, but, you know, not being totally copying, because there's no fun in doing your own thing when you're trying to do an impression or copying, necessarily. That boy Fluff. But the easiest voice that did come to me was Amy, of course, because since she was so nasally, she was within my voice range already. It was just meant to happen. And you know, like, This is going to like ShadAmy territory, but I guess I don't care for now, as long as people don't question for ShadAmy stuff. But when I was voicing Amy, well, I'm still voicing Amy for the ShadAmy comic, but when I was voicing her, when we had content, right now we're still waiting on the artist to finish chapter 4 in order to do episode 4, but when I, did Amy's lines, there were some that weren't perfect, but the main thing that kind of tripped me up was when the moment where Infinite's like, he looks like Sonic, Amy's like,
oh, I didn't know you were coming here.
type thing, where, I guess Shadow left.
Yeah, he just left a little while ago.
Type thing. And she, being oblivious, is like, I trust Sonic. Oh no, you're not Sonic. Type thing. And when I had to scream for when Infinite throws her and her back, like, gets sprained / broken, it was difficult. Because I was like, I don't want to peek, but I have to scream in Amy's voice. Like, type thing. But it was more of like a cough scream because I didn't want to be too loud even though I was alone. But, it was more of the sense of Amy's not really full on out, getting stabbed or something to where she can full out go honcho on the screaming. She's more of, in an area where it's a sudden thing that happens, and then she's on the ground where she's not really screaming. She's more of like breathing heavily because of the pain. I crossed my legs in a bad way. Oh no! Christy, I hope you get some ice on it, or at least, I hope it doesn't hurt right now, or anymore. Alondra, I actually would love to hear you voice Ace in this comic when it's done. Well, even though, I have voiced, like, a male villain in my previous comic that I ended up canceling, I decided to go with a boy voice actor this time because Ace deserves a good boy voice actor. So, because with the cast, I did do a poll on, TC might be potentially dubbed, I want to get a voice actor for Ace, is anyone interested? And the voice actor for, this is gonna be a slight list because, or I can make it like a small list, I guess, but Drake, the one that voices Gerald, the newscaster in ShadAmy comic, he voices Vector for some of our IDW comics. He also voiced in TSR. And I ended up, when he decided to send his audition in for Ace, his voice was a perfect fit, I tell you. Like, granted, technically he was the only option. He was the only one that auditioned for Ace. And I was like, you know what? I'm not taking any chances. I'm definitely casting him because A, his voice worked. B, I can imagine Ace's voice being this. So I ended up going with Drake to voice Ace. And when issue 1 comes out, you will see why I casted him as Ace. You will see why. Because, it is going to be amazing. Granted, I'm saying that and, you know, issue 1's terrible, pacing-wise, but the voice for Ace, just, it fits so beautifully. But, like, cause, I should probably say when I voiced in when I voiced a dude. But, in my previous old comic that I was dubbing, that I ended up canceling, which was called CDWP, I voiced a shit ton of characters. I voiced Slender, I voiced the main villain of the comic named Purgatory, I voiced, who else did I voice? I voiced the main chick, because why not? And then I think that's all I voiced. Oh no, I voiced a character named Q, who like is very quiet, doesn't talk a whole lot, and like as like, you know, Slash, watch out type thing because she's soft spoken. And that was like a female character, but that doesn't explain it. But for male characters, I voiced about like 2 of them because nobody seemed interested in voicing those characters, and I didn't really want to go out on a whim and be like, you know, I'm looking for voice actors, can y'all like help me? But yeah. Ugh.
But that's beside the point.
Oh yeah, but I'm being weird, I know. But when I was doing that weird voice, that made me think of something. But when we were doing the ShadAmy comic, this is so fitting because I have Sonic Adventure 2 music playing, but the scene where Shadow's like, I shouldn't be too hard on her, you know, type thing, where she's like,
we'd all be better off if you were just dead,
type thing to Shadow. And the scene where like he has a slight flashback of Amy. When I saw like the scene, I was like, that's from, you know, from one of the games. And that's when I was like, it'd be kind of cool to give like some nostalgia by quoting what Amy's technically saying in that scene to Shadow. And I ended up looking up the quote, and granted I was like a person, you know, blowing into the mic, but you know what I can do while I have you for like a few more moments? I can look up that quote again and try to read it. So Amy quote, Sonic Adventure 2, me and you. Alright. Bro, where you at? Come on. Cause, you know, it would be kind of funny if I just started reading the Sonic Adventure 2 script. If someone made a meme with a... Oh, I can't wait to show you the picture I'm drawing for you. Oh, Christy, dude, you're making me anxious. I'm excited to see it. If someone made a meme with Ace looking down at Infinite with an irritated look that said, when your family has a family reunion and you see that one person that always brags and you don't like... I actually thought of doing like Vine compilations but labeling it as the TC characters. I thought of that for like half a minute when I was creating TC. I was like, you know what, it would be kind of cool if we had moments of like Iris and Infinite within Vines just to show what they could technically be out of the comic. That you can hardly swallow your fears and pain, and you can't help but follow. Amy quote, she says to Shadow, tomorrow, live and learn. Live and learn. Live and learn. Find your way. Okay. I doubt I can find the quote anymore, but I can read other quotes maybe if I can get far enough. Here we go. You wanna know what I should do? Hang on a second. I'm gonna find I'm honestly trying to find the music on Space Colony Arc. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna leave it. I'll just read the quote. I need to stop being like, I need to find the right music.
I know that people fight over the most trivial things. Some people may be selfish, like the professor said, but they're basically good. If they try their best and never give up on their wishes, they always have a reason to be happy. That's why you should help them out. Saving them is a good thing.
I kind of voice cracked on that one.
Sonic, this time there's no way out of marrying me.
I love Amy.
In all of her dumb glory.
Love tomorrow, live and learn. Live and learn. Live and learn. But besides that, like, with that quote, I kind of forced it into the dub because I thought it would be a little nice nostalgia thing. Live and learn. Live and learn. Find your way. Oh, is that thing on the outside? Hello there. Say hello to my vacuum cleaner. Okay. I'm gonna get it. Where is it? There it is. Oh boy. Okay. Size. Better, better, better. Nice. 'Cause I love my life so bad. It doesn't matter when it happens. I would never give up the fight. Since it doesn't matter who is wrong and who is right. I'll be honest, like for the TC soundtrack, I was thinking of composing it, but since I pushed the production thing earlier, I've been like, sadly, I can't do that. Infinite in all his fluffy glory. Yes, he is a fluffy boy. It doesn't matter well what happens. I will never give up the fight. Since I have to run and hide. Man, I gotta say, Crush 40. I mean, is it Crush 40? It is, isn't it? Sorry, I'm holding like a big dumb over my head right now. What happens? If I had the voice like Crush 40, I would do a cover. Oh yeah. Rolling around at the speed of sound. Got places to go, gotta follow my rainbow. I have to keep moving on. 'Cause what lies ahead, only one way to find out. Must keep on looking ahead. That's what the distance follow my planet's head. What she can see. Take me as everything. Follow me. Set me free. Set me free. I'll escape from the city. Oh dear god, I had a horrible thought. What if I sang this in Amy's voice? We will escape from the city. I'll make it through, prove it to you. Follow me. Amy does not have the capacity of singing. Around every turn. Trust your feelings, got to live and learn. I'm such a dork. Options only one thing to do. What does I have? Escape from the city. I'm such a dork. You see, this is why I shouldn't be allowed on stream. I end up either A, singing like a dork, where the stream's inconsistent, so it sounds like I'm not singing on the same line that they're singing, like I'm delayed. Or it's B, I just am being a dork in general. This is something random, Ace. I'm sorry, little Jacko, but there can only be one son that Lavi needs, so when you're here, you'll have to deal with me. Or should the door, nope, nope. I love that. I tell you what. Either close to my birthday, which is next month, March 20th, or until we reach a certain amount of subscribers, I will do an animatic thing where it's the TC cast, as in like the cast of characters, but there's vines. So you'll have things like, say, you know, like, "Look, it's Christmas! Christmas! I'm coming, Santa!" type thing. You know, those types of vines. But like, have the TC characters and the premise of it. It's either A, you know, a birthday gift to me, technically, because I'll be doing it myself. Or B, you know, if we get to a certain amount of subscribers.